Om Sahanavavatu Sahano Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Prataya Padibodhidam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambattvamanusantatami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Sunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Rayanti Yam Samadaha Dhyanavastita Tadhatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Navidussura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. First two verses chant together. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashrita Karma Balam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sasanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Naniragnirna Chakriyaha Yam Sanyasamidhi Prahuhu Yogam Tam Vidhi Pandava Nahya Sanyasta Sankalpo Yogi Bhavati Kaschana. In the subject of meditation, Bhagavan Sri Krishna here want to go step by step, because the logic of meditation is to go beyond the logic. Intellect, which seeks reason to do everything, must be renounced. And it is hard for all of us to give up the most cherished child of ours, intellect. Because from the very early stages of our life, we have been pampering this child called, the inner child called the questioning intellect. And Gurudev defined intellect as the cause hunting habit. Is it not true? Then anything that happens, why? Why not? How? And all our attempts to understand about mysteries of life, so to say, are because of the intellect only. Anything that happens as a phenomenon, we would like to know the reason. Because everything is seen by us and as an effect of some cause. And our Gurudev also has given this law of causation. What is the law of causation? Every effect must have a cause. First thing. Every effect must have a cause. And second thing is, there is no real difference between cause and effect. In other words, effect is nothing but cause in a different form. If I have a pot, mud pot, the cause of the mud pot is gold. Cannot be. Cause of a mud pot must be mud only. And between the mud, clay, and the pot, only difference is that has no shape and this has a shape. The mud clay doesn't have any particular form and mud pot has a form. That's why I call it as a pot. Therefore, the mud pot is nothing but mud in a different form. The last one is, from the effect, when cause is removed, nothing remains. From the necklace, gold is removed. You take the necklace. I give you free. Necklace cannot remain, neck alone will remain. Neck less. Neck becomes less of necklace. The golden chain, a chain cannot remain without the gold. So if this logic is understood, this is logic of causation, law of causation. Now you and I seem to be very active, thinking, walking, talking, speaking, unnecessarily also. So many things we do. We never ask, what is my cause? Physical body has a cause. My parents, or the food I have been eating unnecessarily for so long, gluttonously. Physical body is made of food, and it is because of the food either eaten by my parents or I have been eating for the past so many years, or put together both. Now that is understood, that comes under the law of causation. If I stop eating, what happens? Food is the cause of my physical body's existence. If I stop food being consumed, then will the body exist? Cannot. Why? Because food itself is appearing as this physical body now. The effect of the food is this body. Alright. So, now, therefore, body is understood to be created by the food. Alright. That is gross, physical body. What about this inner equipment called mind and intellect? What is the cause for that? How is it formed? And why it is? And we find that every one of us are unique in terms of the way we think, what we emote for, how we feel things. Therefore, this mind and intellect does not have body as the cause. Food is not the direct cause of mind and intellect, though there is some amount of influence is there. So what is the cause of this mind and intellect? Because of which I think, I feel, I plan. And there cannot be a physical matter. And not only that I think, feel, etc., but I am conscious. I am alive. There should be something alive, something conscious should be the cause of this mind and intellect. In other words, that very lively thing, consciousness, is itself is expressing as the mind and intellect. Just like food itself is expressing as my body. Mud itself is expressing as a pot. Gold itself is expressing as a chain. It must be consciousness itself is expressing as my mind and intellect. Now, therefore, the attempt to know the cause by the effect is to what is the attempt of the chain to know its cause? Gold. What should be done? What should be done by the chain, golden chain, to realize gold? What should it do? It should do pranayama. It should stand upside down. It should run a marathon. What should it do? It has to lose its chainness. It has been thinking that I am only a chain. So long as it thinks that it is only a chain, it will not recognize its goldness. Correct or not? It may have an intellectual idea that I probably am a gold, but it will not realize it. The chainness in the chain, when it is renounced, the goldness is realized. Not that before that it was not gold, but not known, not recognized, not realized. In the same way, mind must renounce its mindness. And mind by nature is busy. Isn't it? One thing or the other, like a monkey. Man ki baat hai. Goes on jumping from one object to another, one thing to another, one plan on that, today, tomorrow, yesterday, and now these things, and I have to do this, I have to finish this. So mind has been busy, and therefore, so long as the mind has been busy, it will never know how to renounce its mindness. So who am I really? What is my cause? Kastvam koham kuta ayadah kame janani kome tata. Who am I? Where have I come from? What is my origin? If a person wants to attempt, that is called arurukshuhu. That's a word used by Krishna here. Wanting to mount the steed of mind. Wanting to mount the steed called the mind. The running mind, the agitated mind, the restless mind must lose its agitation, restlessness, or preoccupation. The chainness of the chain has to be renounced. The partness of the pot has to be renounced. Partness of the pot has to be renounced. The clothness of the cotton should be renounced. Then it will recognize, the clothness of the cotton should be renounced to realize it's cotton. So the mind has renounced its mindness. But it is not possible for us because we have never attempted on this. If at all we attempt, we sleep. Anytime we want to renounce the mindness of the mind, we sleep. I'm too tired. Don't ask me this, Swamiji. That's to Sunday morning. So here, Krishna uses the word arurukshuhu, meaning rodum ichuhu. Rukh in Sanskrit means to grow. To grow. Rohati. So, rodum, to grow over, to climb over. Arodum. Arohanam. Arohanam, you know. Those who know the music, they know. Yesterday or day before they had it. Arohanam. Avarohanam. So that word is to climb up. In this music, it's climb up. Climb up to the next, what raga, not raga, but next swara. Those who do not know swara, they are called asuras. No. You go to the next swara. So, arurukshu means he who decides to climb over. What? Mind. So, in meditation, the attempt of the individual is to renounce his mindness by climbing over the mind. Just like a horse, if you want to really ride over the horse, you have to climb on it. Without that, you cannot. You can walk with the horse, but that's not what you want to do. Now what we are doing is walking with the mind. Or we are sitting on the horse called the mind, and it takes wherever it wants to go. We cannot decide that. Imagine yourself driving a car where car decides where to go. Google car. Google car is okay so long as you know where you are going. If somebody else from somewhere else remotely controlling where you have to go, then. So here we are with the mind, and where we have absolutely no control. Where the rasagullas are kept there. So you went to a party. And you are fond of rasagulla, right? Your eyes are looking at it, and you want to have it. And while everybody is watching or doing their prayer or whatever, the food has to be served only half an hour later. But your hand, while everybody is watching, it goes there. What a tragedy it would be. So everybody says, what are you doing? I don't know, my hand is going there. I just have no idea. I want to stop. Hey, hand, stop. It amuses you, is it not? Because physically when we are unable to control our mind, it looks very stupid. But we don't realize our mind is the same way. When we do not want to think, it will go. We have no control over that. The more you say, don't think about this, you think about that more. So, we do not have any ability to thus bring mind under our control, but the one who attempts on that is called arurukshu. Now that word is used in the next verse, you see. Arurukshor muner yogam karma karanamuchyate yogarudasya tasyeva shamakkaranamuchyate arurukshor muner yogam karma karanamuchyate yogarudasya tasyeva shamakkaranamuchyate. He who attempts to climb over the mind, to bring the mind under control, the purpose being to renounce the mindness, to realize its goal, its consciousness, its nature, its cause, its origin. Now, that is an intellectual process. Please understand this. I am coming to the point where one has to let go of the intellect also, but the intellect at this moment want to know the cause, because its nature is to cause hunt. Like Easter is to egg hunt. Intellect is to cause hunt. Cause hunting process. What is the cause? Why? Why am I thinking like this? Why I don't think this way? Why I think that way? What is this thought? Why is this thought? Why not that thought? Why now? So when the intellect is thus constantly engaging in finding out the cause of the rest of the things of the world, it never recognizes the same should be done with respect to the mind also. Why am I thinking like this? What is the origin of this thought? Earlier verse, Krishna has mentioned, it is called sankalpa. We saw that word sankalpa. Nahya sanyasta sankalpaha yogo yogi bhavati kaschana. One who has not renounced his sankalpa can never become a meditator. So the cause for the mind to move in the different directions, looking for different things or thinking about different things, it's called sankalpa. Sankalpa, as we have seen in the last session, is otherwise known as fanciful thinking. Fanciful thinking means what? A thing is perceived by me as an object of happiness. Shobhana adhyasa, it's called in Sanskrit. Adhyasa, superimposition of shobhana means beauty or desirable thing, an object of desire. So when I see an object as it is versus see an object as an object of happiness, there is a vast difference. When I see an object as it is, without thinking that it is an object of my happiness, my relationship with that is simple and factual. While the same object, when I fancifully think it is an object of happiness, my relationship with that is attachment. Gurudev, in that movie On a Quest, he asked Swami Tapovanam, what is the difference between attachment and adoration? And not in the exact word, but you might recall Swami Tapovanam pointing out the Himalayan mountains. And he said, do you like it? Do you like the beauty of this Himalayan, the Himalayan mountains covered with snow, such a beauty? Yes, I can see such a beautiful mountain there. So attractive and so charming, so enthralling. You enjoy it? Yes. Do you own it? Do you own that? No. So, you see, you can enjoy the beauty of a thing, but not own it, but not possess it, not to take home. You see it, you appreciate it, but understand you can never own it. It is divinity in action. Bring that devotion into your mind. Then it is easy to recognize that it is a Lord's presence. Adore it, appreciate it, revere it, respect it, leave it. On the other hand, if I think that it is I can own, this is mine, and nobody else can use it, nobody else can attempt to own it, and then attachment comes, possessiveness comes. So, this is called sankalpa. Sankalpana. Fanciful imaginations. And this object of happiness, when I think it is, I lose the fact. I fail to have a relationship which is factual. Take our physical body, for example. This is a vehicle with which we are traveling. Sharira Yatra, it's called. In this body as a vehicle, it needs to be taken care, no doubt about that. It is given to you, take care of it. But to think, this alone am I, and this is the source of my all pleasure, and in the absence of which then I will suffer, in this kind of a fanciful imagination which we have projected upon it for a long time, unconsciously, makes it very hard for us to let go of the identification. Therefore, we must recognize the difference between these two, attachment and adoration, appreciation. So when mind has become fanciful about objects and things and beings and circumstances and achievements, such a mind cannot meditate. As anyakya sankalpa sanyasta yogi bhavati. Nakya sanyasta sankalpa. So an individual who is attempting to climb over the horse called the mind uses the intellect. Please understand that. He is using the intellect right now. What is he trying to do? Why this mind is thinking like this? Why the mind gets attached to things? Why it is that I am getting such kind of thoughts which I am unable to let go? The cause of that is those thoughts which repeatedly come to your mind are those thoughts which you have entertained as source of happiness. Negatively or positively they come. If I have an object which is I think as an object of happiness, if that is not available to me, I constantly think about why it is not, then I am always concerned and it is not possible, and every time I am only targeted and I am such a failure and nobody is really considering me as a person, all sort of depression. Opposite also possible. See, I always get whatever I want. I am the person who is such an achiever. I am a successful person. Accomplishment. Everybody should recognize that I am a most respectable person. And if nobody recognizes, just kill that fellow. So arrogant pride. Both are the same thing. The mind. When it gets what it wants, it becomes proud. When it doesn't get what it wants, it becomes depressed. And both are caused by a fanciful idea. But the object of pleasure is the source of my happiness. So the intellect's attempt is to let go of this sankalpa. Now how do you do that? Krishna says, karma karanam uchyate. Arurukshoho munehe. A muni, a person who is attempting to climb over the steed of the mind, for the muni, munehe, karma yogam, yogam karma, see that? Karma yogam karanam. So in the previous three chapters, 3, 4 and 5, Krishna had explained that the action that is performed without getting excited about the result of action is the means to quieten the mind. Meaning to make the mind to some extent under your control. Just like Gurudev used to give that example of a horse, unruly horse. It is not ready for a ride by you. Moment it sees you, it immediately tries to become defensive. Because it doesn't want somebody else to sit on it. So as soon as you go near it, it will start moving. And it is a tall one, not like a pony. What do you call that? It will look like a horse and behave like a donkey. We are not talking about that. real Arabian horse. It will be taller than you. You try to go near, it will look at you. What is this fellow trying to do now? And you go near, try to climb, it will just move. So what you should do is to walk with that. Pat it and walk. And slowly, slowly, as it realizes that you are attempting to climb on it, it will start slowly moving faster and faster and faster. You also go faster. You start running, it also runs. The first thing you need to do is put your leg on the one of the, what do you call that? Huh? Stirrup. And then you run along with that, with pushing the ground by the other foot, like you have done in the riding the bicycle also. At least bicycle does not have a mind of its own. It will just listen to you, but not us. It will just put you out. So Karma Yoga is an attempt to go with the mind which is constantly engaged in action, but reducing its selfishness in the action. So when the selfishness in the action is reduced, excitement over the personal result is no more, that is when it starts obliging. So the mind becomes unruly when it has, in every action it looks for, what is it for me, what is it for me, what is it for me. It becomes so disturbed and agitated and angry if it doesn't get. Whereas an action performed, or every action performed, not with a personal intention or personal agenda, such a mind naturally becomes less of impurities of anger, lust, passion, greed, jealousy, etc. And it is capable of appreciating higher values of tolerance, forgiveness, compassion, sincerity, patience. And these traits relatively quietens the mind's movements. It has less and less thoughts about why and why not about the world. And it is such a mind which has become relatively quiet is the mind on which an individual can slowly climb over. But that is not the only thing that he has to do. Having climbed over, even then it will try to push you out. The next step is slow it down. Yoga rudasya tasya eva tasya yoga rudasya eva. To such a person who has thus made his mind relatively quiet, the next attempt is to bring inner stillness. Shama karanamucchate. Sham in Sanskrit means to quiet. The word Shanti comes from that. Sham. Sham karaha Shankara. Bhagavan Shiva is a representative or a symbol of quiet mind. He is, most of the time is portrayed as one in meditation. Why? He has already done the yoga rudatva. He has already climbed the mind. And he is symbolically telling us, once you have climbed the mind, once you have made the mind under your control, just make it still. Bring down the thoughts to bare minimum. So, arurukshoho, for the one who is attempting to climb the mind, karma yogam karanam. Arurukshormunir yogam karma karanam uchchate. So, in our daily life, busily engaging in our personal challenges, Swamiji, what you are saying is good for those who do nothing, like you. But we are all busy people, Swamiji. We have so many challenges, so many projects to take, so many domestic responsibilities, social responsibilities, professional responsibilities. So it is not practical. Now you see, nobody says that you should not work or you should not work with certain amount of personal agenda. You should. But the question is how excited you are on that. How agitated you are on that. How frustrated you are when you don't get. We get frustrated by not getting what we want is because we basically are unhappy with ourselves. An angry person is not angry in a situation. He is angry. The situation is only a trigger. It's like a volcano. It doesn't suddenly erupt. It has been fuming for a long time. It has been waiting for a burst. And then when a situation comes where the top layer has become weaker, a small little trigger will do. It starts. A huge wave, if you happen to look at in an ocean, huge wave comes. It doesn't come suddenly. If you watch and go for its cause, you'll find a small little trigger started deep in the ocean. A disturbance. That disturbance has led to another wave and another wave. The wave became huge. After some time, it has taken a lot of momentum because of the wind, etc. And suddenly it becomes such a huge wave and splashes on the shores. In the same way, it is not therefore a particular situation that makes us upset and angry and everything. Yes, inherent unhappiness, inherent listlessness, a basic dissatisfaction that triggers external reaction. Therefore, in the beginning stages, the meditation may be hard for an individual, for his mind would not listen to him. It will go all over the place. But it is that, when you recognize that this is the nature of my mind, you must start attempting to quieten it. Though it is hard in the beginning stages. As Krishna would say, if a person has done the karma yoga, it is very hard for a mind to become quiet. So, there are two attempts have to be done by a person of the world. He must or she must necessarily engage in quietening the mind by some means in the seat of meditation, while in the world, when he or she meets challenges of the world, constantly check on the mind whether I am getting disappointed, disturbed, agitated, overexcited about things which does not happen the way I want. Over things which do not happen the way I want, we get disturbed and extremely agitated. The more we insist the world to behave the way we want, the less we will be peaceful. A perfectionist is one who takes a lot of pain to be one and distributes that to everyone. In close quarters, when we watch them, they are so agitated all the time. Why? When nobody understands me. Everybody understood you, that's why they left you alone. You do it yourself, you know what I can do. So, understanding that an individual has to work hard on oneself with the help of the, again I am pointing out that point, this, with the intellect alone it is possible to quieten the mind easily, not with the help of the body. The body being grosser than the mind, body being only a representative of the mind, mind cannot be quietened by doing anything particularly by the body. At the maximum, take a sleeping pill. But that is not the way to quieten the mind. It's dangerous. So, a lower one can be controlled by the higher, but this it can be controlled by something higher than itself. It will be coming there at the end of the chapters. Krishna will explain that further. So, intellect is the one which can quieten the mind. Mind can alone regulate the physical body and its movements, not the other way around. So even when you sit quietly in meditation and then sitting there and then putting a beautiful music and then some fragrance and all, meditation fragrance you put it on, meditation music you put it on, meditation dress you wear, meditation yoga mat you put it on there. Everything that you do, all physical things, nothing to do with the mind. The mind is still be agitated. Because externally you cannot quieten the mind for a long time, for a short time, yes. Because mind is subtler than the body. So here, Krishna explains how that needs to be done further. Yada hinendriyarteshu na karmasvanusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudastadochyate yata hinendriyarteshu na karmasvanusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudastadochyate yata na anusajjate. Anusajjate, getting attached. Na anusajjate, does not get attached. In what? Who is a yoga ruda? Who is capable of quietening the mind to stillness? Again, it is the attempt of the intellect. Please understand. We must not forget that point, that intellect is the highest available equipment in human beings with which alone he can bring the mind to quietude. Later on we'll see how to overcome that, but let us use that intellect as a means. So, with the help of the intellect which recognizes that my mind is getting disturbed because of its own fanciful thinking, thinking that an object has potentially some happiness to deliver to me, which is a sheer imagination. If it had been true that an object can give me the happiness, then why it is not able to give happiness to another person? Logic. If an object can give me happiness, why it cannot give happiness to another person? What is the reason? What is the logic? If that is the case, when I go to a restaurant or when I go to buy anything in the shop, if that object which I am trying to buy will add to my happiness, that shopkeeper must be most happy person, because he has many quantities of the same thing, many number of the same object. Samsung S7 is my object of happiness. Then the fellow who is having that in display must be the most happy person, isn't it? In fact, he's so unhappy, he's not selling. So, it's simple logic. The intellect should ask that question. That's why I said we are not factual, we are fanciful. Factually, if you look at it, if that is an object of happiness, then that person who has that must be most happy. No, he is not. So, my imagination that that is the source of my happiness is wrong. And think about it. You bought S6 last year only. With the same thought, I'll be happy. Now, why do you want to give up? Why do you want to exchange with the S7 now? This is outdated. So see, what you had as a fanciful joy of S6, today that is not. Something else replaced. Usually that happens in the restaurant, isn't it? After you order the food, that food seems to be more interesting than this. Always. Next time I must have that. You did with the marriage, anyway. Now, therefore, the intellect should question this. Is that the source of happiness? So why am I fancifully thinking like this? Is it true? So, indriyarteshu karmasu, in all the objects of the senses as well as in activities that you undertake, na sajjate, does not get attached. Attached means not looking for happiness through them. Therefore, he is called Sarva Sankalpa Sannyas. He the one who consciously renounced this fanciful nature of the mind. Yada, when, na indriyarteshu, not in the objects of the senses, na karmasu, not in action, anusajjate, get attached. And such an individual who has thus, it is not going to happen in overnight, I am telling you, not. Because our habit has been like this. And even if it is not your habit, others will make it. You don't have S7? As though you committed a crime. What is this? You are working for Samsung. You are working for a big company. You cannot afford this. You cannot afford a big money wasted car called BMW. Constantly they push you. And you feel that if I don't get it, what will be my status? Who will recognize me? Who will respect me? That's what they are respecting because you come in that car. If I don't wear that particular dress, or this particular watch, or this particular... So therefore, it is a habit of the intellect to think that if I don't have that, I must be unhappy. It's programming itself. Self-programming. So long as we continuously engage as per the whims of the mind or by the demands of the world, na indriyarteshu, na karmasu, yada anusajjate, yogarudasya. Such a person is called yogarudaha. Yoge arudaha. He has become a person who can keep his mind under control. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Yogaruda. This is a definition. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Yogaruda. He, the one who has thus completely renounced the fancies of the mind, is a person who has mastered the mind. See, imagine, it is not somebody else's mind, our own mind. Not anybody else's. It's such an as I said, when in Rasugalandan your hand is going there, if you can't control this, who else is it? Somebody else is going to hit on your head. If you are a child, then some mother or somebody would do it. But you are a grown-up 45-year-old. My hand is going. I don't know why. Such a tragedy. So yoga, so that's why sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga arudha. Yoge arudha. Now, therefore, meditation is not what you do at the seat of meditation. It's the preparation begins way before. It's not that when you sit for meditation, it starts. It doesn't. It starts much, much before the preparation begins. Just like when you want to eat food, you should start thinking about vegetables, what are the ingredients, where to get it from, go there the previous day, go to the market and get it and the various ingredients and how to think about how the process. Everything has to be thought about, and then finally you sit for food, having prepared the food yourself. That's why, Swamiji, I go to restaurant, where I don't need to do anything. Many people think, oh, I will go to meditation class with Swamiji, will be all right. Guided meditation. Because you have not done anything. What can the Swami do? Swamiji is very effective meditation. The way he speaks puts me into that state of meditation. If your mind is so disturbed and agitated throughout, and then you sit there, now what will happen? No, I paid $250 for this. Better it happen. I paid money, therefore it should happen. Definitely it will happen because you paid the money. Is it so? So the attempt is not from external. Somebody else cannot do it. It is your intellect. It is your mind. And if you don't have a control over it, you wait for somebody else to do that. So the definition is clearly given here as on renunciation of your own fanciful thinking alone, the mind will become quiet for you to go to the next step called meditation. This is only preparation. Na indriyarteshu na karmasu yada anushajjate. When one does not get attached to, when we do not get attached, please understand the logic, we do not get attached to a thing which we do not think as a source of happiness. If it is a source of misery, you will never get attached to it. If something is causing you pain all the time, you will not get attached to that. Something which you think is a cause of happiness, is that what you get attached to? So when an individual recognizes that this attachment that is caused by a fanciful thinking has to be renounced, which other word means world is not the cause of that problem. World of objects by themselves can be, if they are the cause of your problem, then renouncing the physically the world outside can be said here as a means. But that's not what Krishna says. Na anusajjate. It does not get attached to it by giving up sankalpa. So it is so unfortunate people think that, oh, Hinduism is all about running away from the world. No, not at all. From running from here, where do you go? Another attachment only. One you renounce, another one starts. That's what Gurudev would say, when you came away from India, Indian problem solved, American problem started. Where do you go? No, I'm going to Russia. Go to Russia. Russian problem will start. I'm going to Canada. Canadian problem will start. Anywhere you go. Mind is the same. So you see, therefore, the attempt of the intellect is to recognize the stupidity of the mind, which its own fanciful thinking constantly getting attached to things, and therefore sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudastatochate. And now somebody would ask, Swami, this intellect you are talking about, where exactly it is? Mind, I understand, thoughts. What is intellect? In this chart also, body I know, physical body I understand. Mind, as you say, thoughts, emotions, feeling, etc. But intellect, is it not also the same mind? Yes and no. Yes, it is also the mind, but in a higher order. No, because it is not oscillating like mind. So by definition, sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha, mind is of the nature of constant oscillation. Should I do? Should I not? Should I do? Should I not? Should I do? Should I not? Never stays in one condition. By the time you try to do something, you change your mind. No, that's not. Wake up Sunday morning. Easter Sunday. Balvihar. Do we have Balvihar? So your son who is in the next bed. I don't think daddy. Because he also doesn't want to go. Ask mom. Mom is in the other room snoring away. Everybody is snoring. Then your friend calls. Hey, I don't see you. You are supposed to be volunteering to put the chairs here properly. Do we have Balvihar? Yes. Oh, it's already 8:45. I will not take shower. Who cares? You rush. Somebody is doing that. That's why. Come there and arrange the chairs and push the child inside. Take off from there. So the mind is constant oscillation. To do this or not to do this. To get up or not to get up. To do or not to do. To smile or not to smile. That also. That fellow is not smiling. Why should I smile? Yesterday he didn't smile. Last week he didn't smile. We are so caught up in this mind, which is so not natural at all. Spontaneity is zero. Always planning and scheming. So that sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha, mind which is fickle, nischayatmika buddhihi, of the nature of decisiveness. This is right and this is not right. And unyielding, it knows. If it is not right, it is not for me to do it. If it is right, it is for me to do it. That firmness, that decisiveness, that is the nature of intellect. Not that we don't have, but not strong. When it comes to our strong likes and dislikes, we are like that. But not in higher levels. So the intellect is of the nature of decisiveness and mind is of the nature of oscillation, indecisiveness, unsure, doubtful. It's not just emotion, but by nature it is doubtful, always. And such an oscillating mind alone is a victim of emotions. Not that intellect does not have emotion. Intellect also has emotion, but it's of the refined nature, very refined nature. It also feels, it also has that sensitivity but of a refined form. Whereas those who live only by the mind are easily getting swayed here and there. When they become agitated, disturbed, unhappy, reactive very quickly. Simple things will make them. So you yourself can see how and when you become a victim of the mind, and when, sometimes rarely, you use your intellect. So here Bhagavan Krishna says, these two are not in different places. It's in the same place. In every situation, you have a choice of going by the intellect or by the mind. And an attempt of a meditator should be always to predominantly bring the decisive, firm, clear intellect into action and keep the mind from oscillating. That is why Krishna in the next verse says, you have to lift yourself by yourself. It's a very famous verse. Gurudev says this is the most important verse in this first section of 6 chapters. Because this attempt to grow cannot be some physical exercise. It is an exercise, an intellectual exercise of lifting ourselves by ourselves. Let us say that you are walking, suddenly you fell down for whatever reason. Something was there which made you stumble down on the floor. Now how will you get up? It is this floor that made you fall down. With the help of the floor alone you can get up. On the floor you fell down. With the floor only you get up. In the same way, understand, it is with the mind not listening to the intellect it fell down. With the mind listening to the intellect alone it can get up. When Krishna is standing there at the battlefield, he says, I can do it. You do it. You may consider me as Bhagavan, but even Bhagavan wants his bhakta to do it himself. Uddaredatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanah Uttaredatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanah. Many scholars have recognized this verse as the most interesting because the word Atman is used for everything here. For the mind also the word used is Atman. Intellect also the word used is Atman. And the higher self is also referred as Atman. So why Krishna did not have any better vocabulary or what? Why did he use the same word, Atman, 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 all the time? Mind also Atman, intellect is also Atman, self is also Atman. He doesn't have any other word to use purposely. I'll tell you why in the next session. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayah sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kasyat dukkhabhat bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.